So now I'm just going to start on the triangle patterns of this bag. So here is kind of the design pattern for the triangles. So we are going to be crocheting with 2 colors per block of triangles. So for the first color, we are going to attach yarn and then attach the second color right after it. So we do a total of 8 across for the triangle, and then 2 of the other color in between, and then 8, 2, 8, 2 all the way around the bag. And then so it goes on from here. So this is where we start. We do this sequence and then we just go up from there. So if you want to screenshot this pattern, if it helps you at all, go ahead and do that. This is what I am going to be following. So I'm just going to go ahead and show you how I attach yarn. So I am going to start, so you're going to want to choose your 2 colors for your first round of triangles. So I'm going to start with a pink color. So all I'm going to do is go into the very first chain of the first row of triangles. So I'm just going to put my hook through there, and we're going to continue only chaining along the back stitch. So I'm just going to go ahead and loop through my first color. So you're going to want to leave a little bit of a tail on the end. And then I'm just going to pull that a little bit tighter. Then yarn over and pull through those 2. So now you have your pink attached. Now I'm going to attach the second color. So I'm going to use this baby blue. So now I'm going to go into the very next chain, again in the back stitch. I'm going to pull the pink through, so I'll have 2 pinks on my hook. Then I'm just going to go ahead and grab my next color, and I'm going to thread that through both of those. So then I'm going to leave a little bit of a tail on that as well. Take out the pink and the blue from the yarns that you're threading and push back the little tails. So now I'm just going to go ahead and double knot these together. This is going to be the back of the bag, or the inside of the bag, so you won't be able to see this, or you have the option of weaving it in later. But I'm just going to go ahead and tie all of these strings together, just with a double knot. Okay, so that will be left alone in the back. So now if we're following this pattern sequence, we have the first chain with the first color already. So now we're going to continue with the blue for 8 stitches. So all I'm going to do is put my pink color down below. So I'm going to kind of hold both of them, but I'm just going to be threading with the blue. So now I'm going to go through the very next chain, and I'm going to go over the pink as well, pull the blue through, and then thread the blue through. So the pink is going to be kind of locked in between the chain there, but we're only going to be crocheting with the blue color. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so now I've done 7. So on the 8th chain, I'm gonna go through, pull through the blue. I'll have 2 of the blue left on my hook, and so now I'm going to be switching colors because the next 2 need to be pink. So I'll have the 2 blue left on my hook, and then I'm going to pull through the pink. So now I have switched colors, and then you could just pull the blue tighter so that the chain isn't so loose. But so now we're going to do 2 chains of the pink. So if you're following this pattern, we'll have the 8 blue, 2 pink, and then we're going to switch back to the 8 and repeat that all the way around the bag. So now that I have my pink on the hook, I'm going to just go ahead, place the blue kind of leaning down along the row. So then just go through your very next chain, pull through the pink, and then yarn over, pull through. We're going to do one more chain of pink, so go through the very next chain, pull through with pink, so you have 2 left. So now we are switching back to the blue. We're going to thread the blue through the top. So then just grab the blue, thread it through. So now you have 2 pink, and then we're switched back to the blue color. So now again we're going to do 8 blue, so now I've done 7, and on the 8th chain we need to switch back to the pink. So I'm gonna go through the 8th chain, pull through blue, and then switch over and pull the pink through the 2 blue loops on the hook. So that changes over your color. So that is all you're gonna do for this row. So just continue this pattern for that row. Now I'm gonna do 2 pink, and now you have 2, you're going to switch back to the blue. So just go ahead and continue this, and I'm gonna come back once I've done the entire row. So now I've made it almost all the way around my first round of the base of the bag. So now I've almost made my way all the way around. I'm just going to show you how I'm ending this row. So I've done 7 blue, and so I need to do 1 more. So this is the 8th, and I'm going to switch to the pink on the 8th stitch. And then so I'll have technically 1 chain left in the row, because this tiny baby chain is what connects the pink to the base of the bag. So I'm not counting that there's like a baby stitch there of the gray that's kind of just a knot. So this is the very last chain of the row. I'm switched over to pink, so this is the 2 that counts together as the 2. So now I'm going to go on to the next row. So round 2, the very beginning will have 2 pink stitches instead of 1. So the very beginning of the row should have 2. And then I'm going over to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blue, 1, 2, 3, 4 pink. So I'm going to do 2 pink, 6 blue, 4 pink, 6 blue, 4 pink, 6 blue. So this is how the second row is going to go. I'm going to go into the bottom, the very first pink row beneath it, place a pink, and now I'm doing 1 more. So I'm going into the blue, pulling through pink, and this is the last pink stitch, so I'm going to switch over to the blue. Gonna just pull that back together. So now I'm only going to do 6 blue, so So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now I'm on the 6th. So I'm going to pull through blue and then switch over to pink. So that is 6. Now I'm going to do 4 pink. So 1. Just let me make sure my blue is in there. 2. 3, 4. Oops. So on the 4th, you need to pull through the blue since it's the last pink stitch. So I'm switching back to blue for 6. So this is the pattern for the 2nd row. This triangle here, since we are working in spirals, it will turn out a little bit sideways, but this is going to be the back of the bag. So your very first chain, and actually it's probably a good idea to be marking the beginnings of your chains. So I am just going to continue to place a stitch marker on the very first chain of the row. So yeah, I'm just gonna finish the 2nd row and then come back once in. So now I'm finished with my row 2. I am back to the very beginning. So again, this triangle is going to be a little bit off compared to all the other ones, but that's okay because we can make this the back of the bag. So I'm taking off my chain marker. And so all I'm going to do is get started on round 3. So starting with the pink. So I'm just going to go ahead and, so you're going to have a 5 pink for the very beginning part of the chain. So I ended the last triangle with 6 blue, and then technically you would do 3 pink, but this triangle is going to be smaller. So for the 3rd row, we're going to have 4 blue, 6 pink, 4 blue, 6 pink. Except this is going to be 5 pink. So just ignore this first. But okay, I'm going to finish. So I'll have 2, 3, 4, and then 5. And then this is the last one, so I'm going to switch over to the blue. So now from here on out, we're going to do 4 blue, 1, 2, 3. Oh, this is the 4th one, so I'm going to end on the pink. 4. So now we're going to do 6 pink.
So now on the 6th chain,
Switch over to the blue. So then you're just going to continue this pattern for the remainder of round 3. So now back around 2. I've finished round 3. I just need to do the pink stitches. So Alright, so I'm going to remove my stitch marker. And for round 4, this is the last round for one block of triangles. So round 4, we are going to start with 4 pink, but in our case for this smaller, we're going to start with 1, 2, 3. Oh yeah, I guess we are going to start with 4. And then we're going to do 2 blue, 8 pink, 2 blue, 8 pink, all the way around. So 1, 2, 3. On the 4th, we switch to blue. And then now we're just going to do 2 blue. So now they have 2 blue, we're going to do 8 pink. So I'm going to show you how I switched to my next 2 colors for the beginning of the next block. But then I'm not going to show you how to go through all of this over again because it's the same exact thing. So I'll come back at the end of the row, show you how to switch colors, and then this is all you're going to be doing for the remainder of the bag. You could make it as large as you want it to be, as many colors as you want it to be. But yeah, so I'm just going to go ahead and finish this row first. So now I've finished with my round 4 and I am almost back to the middle of the very first triangle that we did. So I'm just going to go ahead and finish off. So I'm ending, I just did the 2 blue stitches. Now I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, and so now I'm on the chain before my stitch markers. So I'm just going to go ahead and take out my stitch marker. I'm going to go in with the same color as the triangle you're in right now. So I'm taking the pink, I'm going to yarn over, pull through, so I have 2. And then now I'm going to pick my next 2 colors. So I'm going to use this muted orange and then this kind of like forest green color. So this is going to be the next row of triangles that I'm doing. So just go ahead and choose what color you want to do next. So now I have 2 pink loops on my hook, or whatever color you're using for your final triangle. I'm just going to loop through my new color. So I'm taking the orange. So then I am just going to go ahead and cut off my previous colors, leaving a little bit of a tail so I can weave that in later. And also take the tail of the orange and kind of hold that back there. So now I'm just going to complete this triangle with my orange. So now on the very last color of the triangle, I'm going to yarn over, pull through, so I have 2 loops on my hook, and then take your second color And then this is where you attach your second color. So I'm just going to go ahead and loop that through, keep the tail in the back, and actually we can tie these together just very loosely, and then weave them in later just so that they stay in place. So now we are back to the original pattern. The very last row will have half orange, half the original color for this triangle. And then we're just going to continue the same patterns that we did for the first 4 rows. So then we're going to continue back with the 8, 2, 8, 2, 8, 2. And then you're just going to continue up along however many rows of triangles you want to do. So now we are on the green. I'm just going to do 2 stitches of green. Don't forget, always on your last stitch, you're going to want to loop through the second color. But yeah, so this is all you do for this triangle pattern. I'm just going to go ahead and just do as many triangles as I want with as many colors as I want. It's completely up to you what colors and how tall your bag is. I'll probably do 8 blocks of triangles, so I'll do 8 triangle blocks. But yes, it is up to you. So this is what I have after completing that triangle sequence a bunch of times. I think I did 9 different rows, but I'm gonna go ahead and stop there. So I'm gonna show you, I'm going to attach one more color, and this is the color that I'm going to do a few basic rows and add little spaces for a drawstring. So I'm just yarning over, pulling my previous color through the very next loop, and then looping through whatever color you want to be the top of your bag. So I'm just attaching it the same way that I did all the previous colors. And then for this row, I'm just going to, well, first I'm just gonna loosely tie that together so I could weave it in later. And then I'm just going to do a plain row of single crochets all the way around. Once I have finished with the single crochets, then I'm just going to do about 2 chains into the second row of just basic single crochets. And then I'm going to start making the spaces for the drawstring. So all I'm going to do is chain 2 and then skip to the 3rd chain and then place a single crochet. So I will have a little gap. Then I'm going to chain 4. So place 1 single crochet in each of the next 4 chains. And then repeat that. So I'm going to chain 2 and then skip over to the 3rd chain and place my single crochet. So that's all I'm going to do for this second row. Now that I've made my way all the way back around, for the 3rd row, I'm going to again just do a row of basic single crochets. So once I'm finished, then I'm just going to cut off excess, and I'm just going to double knot my string. I'm gonna just weave that in later. So then next to get started on the drawstring, I'm just taking 3 different colors. You could use whatever colors you want. I'm making a slip stitch, and then I'm just going to be making a basic chain. Since this is thicker yarn, you could get a thicker hook if you wanted to, but honestly I couldn't be bothered. So I'm just going to make a chain long enough to fit just a little bit longer than the length of the bag when it's fully open. So then all I'm gonna do is add little tassels on the ends of these strings, so I'm just looping together a bunch of different colors, and then I'm just going to cut that when I have enough of whatever colors I want. But once I have my little pile of colors that I'm going to use for the tassels, I'm just going to put that aside. And first I'm going to string through my drawstring through the top of the bag. So I'm just going to be starting on the back of the bag, and I'm using the back as the space where all of my like ugly triangles are. So I'm just going to be looping it, alternating between going in and out of all of the little spaces that we created. So once I made my way back to the front, there were 2 spaces left, but I didn't want my drawstring to be that close to each other, so I'm just going to leave it right there. Then I'm going to take the small pile of yarns that we cut, and I'm just going to split that in half and then loop it through the small loop that we left on the end of the drawstring. So I'm just going to loop that through. And then once I have that all together, I'm just going to tighten the end of the strings, wrap it around, and then I'm going to place double knots. So once you have the tassel secured with all your double knots, just pull all of the strings down evenly, and then I'm just going to cut off the excess. And then I'm just going to repeat that for the other side. For the other side, since it was the beginning of our drawstring, I'm just going to pull apart the very last knot, and then I'm going to place my tassel through there, and then just repeat that for what I did for the very first one. So now that you have that, we're almost completely done with your bag. For the straps, you could either crochet a backpack strap, so you could do 2 straps and attach it along the back, or you can make it a kind of like a purse and just do 1 long strap. I will probably do backpack straps, so I want them to be a little bit thicker. So all I'm gonna do is take whatever color yarn that you want, and then all I'm doing for the backpack strap is I'm chaining a total of 6, and then going into the second chain, placing a single crochet. So I'm just going to do a row of single crochets, and then for the remainder of the strap, I'm going to do double crochets. So at the end of this very first row, just chain 2 to begin your row of double crochets, and then just go along back and forth until it's long enough to fit around your shoulders. My camera did die, so I didn't end up filming the end of this, but I just made 2 fairly long straps, and then I attached them to the back of the bag with slip stitches. So I hope that's okay, but I don't have footage of me doing that. So yeah, once you're finished with that, then you're completely done with the bag. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments, and thank you so much for watching.